Hi there, welcome. Welcome to Homekeepers. Hey, come right on in. So glad to be here with you today. And you know, when Carol and Jean can't come in, everybody loves them. They're kind of like family, and they don't get to come that often because of ministry on the road. But Carol is with me, and so is her husband. And this is if you're a regular viewer, you know that we have regular programs to talk about those who are incarcerated in our prisons, especially in America. And when the Lord laid this on my heart, I had no idea the scope. It's kind of like you have an inmate here, and then there's all these ripples that go out that affect families and communities and people, and then you find out what goes on in the prison and the friends there that they make, and actually the ministry that goes on. And so we have found it to be an exhaustless subject, and I'm so glad that they are back. And I'm going to join Stephanie for Southwest Turkey Wraps. This looks really good. But I found something in the newspaper I thought would interest you. Let's say, a shout out to Iowa. They have passed a law, which will probably go to the Supreme Court. That's why you need godly people on the Supreme Court. But Iowa has passed a bill, no abortions after the heartbeat of the baby. And that is very significant because I think the heartbeat is 6 weeks or less. And that's going to cut off an awful lot of abortions in Iowa. So don't get discouraged. I remember when this whole ministry started, and I've been involved in it from time to time, the pro-life ministry. I remember Herman Bailey and his wife, and a lot of us from CTN, we'd go out, try to shut down an abortion clinic, and there were all kinds of ways, to try to save the babies' lives. But it's still happening. It's still happening. There are still things that are going on that are very helpful. So don't stop praying for it, and do not stop being involved. All right, I want to remind you that we're going to offer you the little booklet, Praying the Names of God. The Bible gives a lot of references on how to pray and how to be far more effective in prayer. And this little book has it, and you can have it for a gift to the ministry of just anything that you want to give. You can use the 800 number, 1-800-229-0059, or write to us at Homekeepers, Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida, 33718, and we will get it out to you. I don't know about you, but I'd sure like to increase the effectiveness and the success of my own prayer life, so maybe that has some things in that can be helpful. And I'm joining Sister Stephanie. Now,
hi.
Before you get started,
okay, let me just put onions in.
Okay, put the onions
because I got to saute. And then
not all of them.
No, that's too many.
If you follow great cooks like Stephanie and myself, we always use less onions and less sugar.
Yeah.
Okay, I think America is becoming the most victim mentality nutty in their culture. So Florida, that's where we live.
That is where we live.
Is number 12 in the most stressed out state over meal prepping.
That's crazy.
How dumb can you get?
That doesn't even make sense to me.
No. Well, we're number 12. See right there.
Maryland is number 1. What is happening,
Maryland is 79% are stressed over meal prep. And we're 60%.
60% of you don't watch Homekeepers.
Because she is the best at telling you how to do meal preparation.
Well, there you go.
How can things get dumber?
Don't ask that question.
Okay.
So we have ground turkey. Ground turkey. Healthy. We've been asked, could you please do some more healthy recipes? Because I guess the peanut butter mousse tart and the eclair cake and stuff
that took us over the edge.
Was a little, so we're going healthy. So ground turkey, onions. Okay. We have a can of tomato sauce. We have chili powder, cumin, pepper, and salt. Okay. Super simple. And then we have Bibb lettuce.
And look, if you have these things in your house, you won't be stressed with your meal prep.
No, this is like it's like tacos on a lettuce leaf. I mean, so easy, so simple. Okay, so tomato sauce, and this will go a long way. And if you want it,
this won't stress you out at all, will it?
No, and if you want it to, you know what? Will you give me a little water in there, please?
Okay.
If you want it to go even a little farther, just add a can of beans to this,
Yes, ma'am.
and that will make it go even farther.
And I read somewhere that adding beans to so many things are really good for you. Do you want to
Yeah,
see that?
sure. It's very good for you, and it will stretch your,
enough?
a little bit more, please,
Okay.
and it will stretch your meat a lot. You could do, this could be like 2 meals. Freeze half of it, you know?
But
So
come
this
on.
is chili powder. But come
To
on.
plan meals,
Cumin.
please. My mom didn't have all these conveniences.
Arthelene Rippy is beside herself, okay?
I am tired of the
That was
victims in
pepper.
the United
This
States.
is
Get
salt.
over it. You're just living in the greatest nation in the world right
Yes,
now.
for sure.
So
So
be
all
thankful.
we're going to do
Get over
is
it. Organize your time. That's what you do.
it's all, that's the key to all of it is organization.
And if you watch Homekeepers, Stephanie tells you how to
Yep,
do that.
you meal plan, you have a grocery list. Once you get going, it's super simple because you have everything you need already. It's just getting going and being
Yeah,
ordered.
she really has given some wonderful ideas and tips. And I hope Brooke, our soon-to-be bride.
Yes.
Hey, Brooke, come here a minute.
Oh.
Come here, Brooke. Come on.
Hurry,
This
hurry.
is our floor director, and she's getting married, and we're all living our lives through her.
Vicariously.
Yes. Are we teaching you some great stuff?
You are.
Good, good. Okay.
Lots of good stuff.
Yeah. All right, because we want you to take good care of Matt.
Yeah.
But no kidding, you know, when you get a bride among a bunch of grandmothers, it's
Yes.
great.
Okay, so
Okay.
you want this to cook a lot longer, let the flavors all get together and marry, but we have to get to the Kents. We have
Yes,
things
we
to
do.
do. So let me put this in here for you.
And we get.
Look how yummy. And if you put beans in that,
I'd
oh
probably-
my gosh, it would be delicious.
I know it, and I'm not going to roll it up because I'd have it all over me.
Yes, just try it with
But I am going to taste the meat.
Yeah.
You know, you can sprinkle a little cheese on that, couldn't you?
Cheese, sour cream, guacamole would be really good.
That's
So good, right?
Yeah, I'd put a little bit less chili powder in it, but you know me, I can't take any kind of heat.
Yeah.
So, but you see how easy it is. If you get this recipe, you won't
So
be
good.
stressed out anymore
Nope.
over meal prep. All right, if you want this recipe, information is coming up on your screen. Take note of that. We'll get it right out to you. And if you haven't met Carol and Jean Kent, you're going to love them. I guarantee that.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, you may receive it by contacting us through social media as listed on the screen. When requesting a copy through the mail, be sure to include a self-addressed stamped envelope. Thank you, and please know we always appreciate hearing from our viewers.
Well, welcome home. You are part of us for sure. You are part of it.
Thank you, Arthelene.
And,
We love coming to see you.
I understand you just came from New Jersey and New York. Sometimes when you come, you just got back from Africa. So
Well, we had a
thankful for your
wonderful
ministry.
trip. It's always good to be on the road serving Jesus.
Well, at the top of the show, I'm showing all these books you did. And I don't have the New Kind of Normal.
We'll get that for you.
But I just wanted people to see, you know, really the array of your books, and you come up with the best titles of anybody. And I've got to say something about this. This is the newest one, right?
It is.
He Holds My Hand is a devotional book. And my sister, Dawn Crabtree, in Boca Raton, Florida, is a connoisseur of devotional books. She can't stop raving about this.
Oh,
And so if you do like devotional books, and I use them all the time, boy, they keep me going with the Lord. There's just certain topics that pop out that you need every single day. So
right.
you working on anything else?
Well, I'm thinking about it. Jean and I together are working on a marriage book with another couple, and we are in the proposal stage right now, but it will be directed toward couples who have faced an unexpected interruption in their lives after they've been married a few years. And that can come in a variety of ways, but we hope to help people to hold on to their faith and to hang on to God's word in
And
the
their
middle.
marriage.
Oh, absolutely.
For any of the viewers, this may be your first time and you've not seen these good people. They've been Christians about all their life. They have one son, pride and joy, and raised him to serve the Lord. And he was a following Christ, graduate of Annapolis. And in a period of time where I just can assume that he came unraveled over a need to protect his stepdaughters, he felt. He actually killed the biological father and is in prison for life. So when you talk about writing a book that had an interruption,
Yes.
yeah, they're really minimal.
We had a big interruption.
A very big interruption, and we have talked about that for what, 3 or 4 years now. You've been on the show. And as I said at the top of the show, there's no end to the subject matter. But so you're writing a book on marriage which could have really destroyed your marriage.
Well, we realize that many couples face a whole lot of crises. And when you and I are on together, we talk a lot about jail and prison ministries. But there are so many people who can relate to the emotions you feel in the process of facing a crisis of any sort. And along the line, you know, as we think about what we're going through right now, we're finding out we have to accept changes within the prison system and what happens to your child. And that is all a part of what has been next on our journey.
And I just found out about this morning, the change in Jason's life. And I felt so sad, and I'm not his mother.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us what happened, Gene? Because he's been in how many years? 18 years or so?
He's been in 18 plus years now. It'll be 19 years in October.
And he's been ministering for the Lord, and I'm sure some strong bonds in there.
Developed over the, right. Because the prison that he was at just before he was moved right towards the end of last year, it's really in January, he was moved from Hardy, and he had been at Hardy for 13, 14 years. So he made lots of great friends there, and we had lots of friends with families and kids and inmates that we knew. And he ended up being moved in January to DeSoto. DeSoto's down by Arcadia, Florida. And it's 35 miles farther for us to drive, so it's like a 3-hour round trip for us now instead of only 45 minutes one way. And so it's just created some change for us, which we weren't expecting that. And it ended up becoming a move because of longevity. Normally, inmates stay in one prison for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then they end up getting moved, just because the prisons understand that if they are too long with guards, that they become better and better and better friends, and then the guards are not as careful as perhaps they should be. And so he had been a long time at the Hardy prison, and it was time for him to be moved.
Well, also the circumstances. He had one roommate.
Yes.
Right, in some kind of a room.
He was in a 2-man cell. Now, he would describe it like saying, Mom, it's about the size of your master bathroom, that one room with a bunk bed in there. But still, there was some privacy. You know, we'd have a little lockbox. And since he's been moved, they said due to good behavior, he didn't have to be in a 2-man cell, so he's now in an open bay dorm with 70 guys. So there's a tremendous lack of privacy.
How do you ever get any sleep?
That's exactly what he says, that it's very difficult. And a lot of the guys have sleep apnea, so you have all kinds of sounds going on in a big room like that.
And of course you have a little snoring, I'm sure.
There's the understatement.
So he said it's just much louder than it was when he was just in the 2-man cell.
But you know, I'm a mother, and when I thought of him being moved, that because as awful as prison is, that was his home. There were friends and a routine.
Yes. Right.
And now he got to make brand new friends. And so can you describe, we've just finished Mother's Day. In fact, we have a picture of you all on Mother's Day, right?
Yes, you do. I was so blessed to be with my son right on Mother's Day.
Let's take a look at the Kemp family. And
there we are.
Yeah, that's a good-looking group there. Jason's a very handsome young man, and I can see he looks like both of you. But
You can see the waves behind us. You know, it looks like a beach. but
Yeah,
it's really
it wasn't.
painted on a wall, right?
Well, also because you're Christians and you love the Lord, and which should be the normal, you're there. Whenever you can be there, you're there.
Yes.
And so many of the inmates, no one comes. No one comes. And so as I was thinking of that, I was thinking of you especially, that to have your child move to something that's much less.
Yes. And I will say this, one of the things we're learning to do in the middle of facing change, and in the process of being incarcerated, any inmate with a long sentence is going to face moves. So it's one of those things you know, but when it happens, it still hits you hard. And you realize that God is doing a new thing. And your first feeling is, oh, I didn't get to say goodbye to all of those families I've known for 13 years. And I mean, they've become precious friends. They're the married couples you know and you fellowship with every time you get to visitation. They're the inmates you meet on a regular basis, and you think, I may never see those men again for the rest of my life because I'm not there. And so I went through this deep sadness. It was kind of like when you move from one state to another and you're in a new church, you're in a new community. And so there's that sadness of feeling the loss of relationships. But then we started to look around and say, God, what is the new thing you are doing? And we soon realized, Arthelene, that one of those new things is that we are already acquainted with the great needs there are at Hardy Correctional, but we started to look around the DeSoto Visitation Park, and there weren't any games for the kids, no coloring books for the kids. And a lot of your listeners know about Gene's T-shirt ministry.
Yes.
Where he has T-shirts in the trunk. Do you know almost every single visitation day?
I've given away new T-shirts again because of the rules, and
So they're not clothed properly.
Right.
But your T-shirts make up for that.
cover them up so
Yes.
that they can get in without having to drive. It's about 12 miles to get into Arcadia and to get to a store. So it's going to take them a half hour. It's going to take them an hour by the time they go there and back and get new clothes.
So Arthelene, on Mother's Day, just last Sunday, there was a little girl waiting to go in with her mommy, and she had on tight little adorable leggings. She was about 3.5 years old.
Yes.
And she was not allowed to get in.
What's wrong with that on a 3-year-old?
It's just the rule. And so Gene went out to the trunk, and we have large
I got the
T-shirts.
largest T-shirt I could get.
And the mama put it on her daughter like it was a little dress. And she was so creative. She made a bow in the bottom as she tied it up to look like a cute little flare skirt. And that little girl got in, and she got to be there with her mama and her daddy on Mother's Day.
Now, was her dad incarcerated?
Yes, her daddy was incarcerated, and Mama was bringing her daughter and her brother to see Daddy. But I thought, Lord, there are new opportunities here. And we've been getting to know some of the families. And I was just jotting down a couple of things. You know, God is teaching us again to show compassion. And the very first day we were in line, we met a family whose son had just gone through his trial. He had just been incarcerated. And Gene, share a little bit about what they're going through.
And they're looking at 15 years for this family. The young man is around 30. And so the parents, we saw them probably the second or third time they would come to visit. And, you know, they're just beside themselves, don't know how everything works. You know, they had been in the intake process once or twice, 2 or 3 times. And, you know, everything was new and uncomfortable. So I'm just making small talk with them, which is really talk about where they are spiritually, and come to find out all of the family were believers and had trusted in Christ. So we just had an opportunity to encourage each other, and I just told them things that are going on in prison, what our son's like, and I knew that our son would get along well with their son. Our son's probably 20 years older than their son, so he could be somewhat of a mentor, a prison mentor. Which, you know, as we sit here right now, Arthelene, it's always hard for me to believe that, you know, 40 years ago I taught school for a few years, and that 40 years later, I would have a son who's in prison. It's just hard to comprehend in our minds. But we never know what our future's going to hold and what kind of things are going to happen.
Yeah, I remember asking you, because mothers and daddies are so different.
Yes.
I remember asking you, you know, one son that you probably dreamed of going fishing with.
Yes.
And golfing, and but I've just got to say that you folks are such an inspiration. I'm just so thrilled to bring you to the viewers once a month.
Arthelene, I was thinking of this mama we met, and it was raining hard when we left the prison, and Gene brought a big umbrella, and he went to get the car, and I was standing under the shelter area with this mama. And she looked up at me, and she just had big tears in her eyes, and she said, "My son is going through horrible depression right now, and I don't know how to help him." And it reminded me, it was like a flashback.
Yes.
18 years ago when Jason was first arrested, and when I went through those first waves of hoping there would be a more merciful sentence, and then finally visiting him at the prison for the first time and realizing, you know, kind of like looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, this is our life. This has happened. This is what our life is going to be. And then the old enemy starts to come and put that cloud of depression over you, like this is never going to change. There's no real hope for anything happy coming out of this. I mean, how could God use this for his glory? And he tries to lock us in a cloud. And I just believe we probably have some listeners out there right now who feel like they're under that cloud thinking, nothing is going to change in my situation. I am totally alone. I can't cope. I don't know what to do next, and the people around me are hurting. And I want to say to you, hold on. God may have brought about and allowed some changes in your life, but it doesn't mean this chapter of your life is over. God is doing something new. And I love that about him.
That is wonderful. When Gene was talking a while ago, I thought of that scripture, for my ways are higher than your ways.
Yes.
My thoughts are higher than your thoughts. And I believe God needed Jason over in the other prison because he is really a spiritual mentor to not the kind of congregation you would want.
Right.
Some of them are downright mean and full of the devil, demonic, but also you have a lot of illiteracy in there.
Yes.
You have, oh my, the greatest percentage never had a father. You have mental illness. It's just such a grab bag of society. And so when you get past maybe the anger and the crying and the hurt and you don't want your son, when you get past all that, and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts, he just was looking down from heaven and saying, I think I'll move Jason over here because there are people who need him.
That's right.
That's our God.
And I think, Arthelene, it has occurred to me again and again since this move, you know, our circumstances change. We have unwanted and unexpected change in our life, but we have a changeless God.
Amen.
And I looked up the scripture in Malachi 3:6, I, the Lord, do not change. And then remember Hebrews 13:8, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And I need to just cling to the fact that this is momentary and this change is uncomfortable. It's hard, but God is at work in a new way, and it's okay. We still have a changeless God.
Do you find when you get these, what I call a punch in the gut, that with each one you do really get past it a little quicker? There's a little bit more Christian maturity there.
I hope so.
Well, I can observe it if you, but.
Yes, I think we are becoming more mature in accepting that this is what our life is, and that God's ways are beyond understanding at times. You know, and as we go through this and we commiserate about it some, and I'm sure there's some listeners out there who may be thinking, well, your son took a life, and that family doesn't have their loved one anymore at all. And I know that's very true. And we get to see our son, you know, whenever we're free and whatever Saturday or Sunday's available. And I just want to encourage any family touched with violent crime, and if you're on the victim's side of it, that Jesus cares about you more than you could ever imagine. And I know he's been close to us as we've gone through this and continue to go through it, but he wants to be close to you and give you comfort and peace in the midst of your struggle.
Amen. And I happen to know that the Kents have had such great compassion for the family whose life they took Jason took his life. I know that you've done everything, you know, that a Christian could do. That's what you do. Eventually put it into God's hands. And I've only got a couple minutes, but I'm intrigued by this book you just mentioned. I didn't know you were writing a book, such a book. So in it, I'm sure you'll reveal any effect it had on your marriage. I mean, I've known you since not too long after it happened, I think.
That's right.
Right.
And I've only seen shoulder to shoulder. We're going to face this. To pull back the curtain.
We had our moments, Arthelene. We were not always
Gotta get the
shoulder
real
to
truth.
shoulder. I think whenever you go through what feels like the valley of the shadow of death in your life, the death of a dream or an actual loss, you sometimes rush to judgment in your thinking. You blame each other for things that
I should
aren't
really
their
take
fault.
blame for. Because most of the time,
always
the
your
guy
fault.
is bad.
But you have to make a choice. Are we going to let this crisis destroy us, or are we going to say, we can't fix this, and God, without your help, our marriage won't make it, and we're going to stick together. And I'm very glad I stuck with you.
I'm very glad to.
You are worth it, man. You're worth it.
Yes, and also Jason's probably one of the very few. Both of his parents come to visit him. And
Right.
Well, we are out of time. I do want to say this one thing because I was just up in my office a few minutes ago, how much we love your emails, how much we love your notes of encouragement, and how you feel like you know us, and we feel the same way about you. And so we want to thank you so much for your support, and especially some of you have really supported this prison ministry. And remember, we're all workers together with him. And please remember, there's no higher calling anywhere than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.